Hello students, in this class we'll learn how to use multiple classes along with different types of functions around it and in them. So let us begin. We may need to input something, so let us simply import java.util. Either scanner or write asterisk. All the classes of util package will be imported for you. Then let us begin with class 1. Let us give any name like mm, arithmetic. Why I have given, it will be clear. Class का नाम मैंने दिया arithmetic. I have given a lengthy name, so we can give lengthy name also, no problem. And yes, in classes what do we have? We have data and functions. So we are learning procedural programming, and let us make functions first. Okay. So static void. We'll try to use all kind of functions also. First, we are starting with a simple function having no return, no argument. Okay, let us write a comment. No return and no argument. Comment का ये use भी है. You can tell about the function. So let us also input in it. Okay, so for inputting, what do we need? In scanner object, any name. Now we can make two variables, n1 and 2 local variables. These are. Now what? Yeah, nice message is now there. Now what? N1 will, the first number will go to in dot next int is the function which is defined in the scanner class that we are calling here. And for n2 variable also the same thing. We have seen these things. I just want to show a different thing in this program. Now, or we may make another variable like sm equal to n1 plus n2, or we could do it either way also. That is defined there in while we are learning the previous video in how to input and output, and that these things are well defined. Okay, let us make another class control. From here we'll control everything, that's why. And what this class will have the main function. Public static void main string args. Now what? We can call that function, and again we'll see the same thing. This function is of type which type? No return, no argument. So we can call this function simply like this. Okay, but this we saw in our previous class that what happens? This will not work. Let us first see this, how it is not working. So yes, now here comes the way or turn to save it. The class name is arithmetic, the class name is control. You can give any name, but it's always good to give which name for saving? The name which contains the main function. To control, this class contains the main function. So better to save although you can give any name. Control dot Java. Saved. Now let us compile it. To go to E drive, Java, begin at the folder, dir. You know what it does? Dir command shows you the files and folder in that particular directory, the folder. Dir /od is another command which shows you sorted date wise. Look, the file which we created in the last came in the last because it is date wise sorted. Look this, when I write this command, O dash D minus D or dash D is called, it's sorted in descending order. Earlier it was in ascending order. Okay, so either way you can see. So this is how what we can do. We can see whatever files are getting generated at which time. So this is the time on which this file was created, control.java. So always try to use this so that you could easily find out the number of files that are getting generated. Okay, so look on 1st of September, this file is created and these two things are there. Rest are of previous dates. Now let us see what happens. Why I'm displaying according to date. I'll make it clear. First compile this. What's the name? Control.java. There's some problem. I just said you that this is how we cannot call a function. This is how. We could have called this if this sum would be the part of the control class, but this is the part of arithmetic class, and we cannot simply call the functions of any other class in any other class like this simply. So what do we need to do? We need to mention the class name as well. Arithmetic.sum. Why arithmetic.sum? Because this is the name of this class, and this class, this function belongs to this particular class. So we are giving the reference कि भाई this function belongs to this, and this is how we do using the period operator. Now it is a good reference that we have to take some function from arithmetic class. Very easy, no problem. Now again, let us try to. Now it has no problem. Now let us see what has happened. Dir od, not 0d. Okay. O means sorted, sorting. Look, this is the file which we saved at this time, and when we compiled, two new class files are generated, and this is what you need to understand. If we have two classes, then see arithmetic.class is also generated and control.class is also generated. Okay, two class files are generated. It is not about just two class will be generated. If we'll have 5 classes, then 5 class files will be .class file will be generated when it is successfully compiled. And this is what happens every time we compile any program. But normally we keep only one class, so only one .class file is generated. And now how we have to which class file to give? So the one having the main function. So control is having the main function. So to execute this, we'll have to write Java and the name of that class which has the main function. So control has the main function. Look, now what has happened? Main function invoked, and then the sum function invoked. Now what has to be done? First this is done, object is created, then two variables are created, then this enter two numbers, and this is what it is appearing here, enter two numbers to sum. Then in dot next int, I mean now whatever number will input, like 78 and 5, So 70 has gone to N1 and 5 will go to N2, and the sum SM variable will have the sum of N1 plus N2, and then this will be output in this way, and everything will happen when I'll press enter. Sum is 83. Now what has to be executed? Nothing is there. Ends. End of the program. So this is how we just see how we've seen that this is happening. Let us make another class. This was the simple version. Third class I'm making. Can we make three? Any number of class you can make. Class financial. I'm going to make a financial any function related to finance. What you said? Did you said sir? Finance means what? Nothing. I just given a name, and then this class we are going to define a function to calculate a simple thing. That is, let's calculate a simple interest. Why I'm taking always these things? These things are simple to understand. Simple example help us to understand things in a proper way. So let us make a program for simple interest. How to make this? Simply static void, or let us make this time a function having return, because in this program we have to induce as much thing as possible. So in an earlier class we made a simple function, void function with no argument, but in this case we'll make a function which will return this is the name of function, simple interest or semi-int, any name you can give. And let us also let's not have a the argument. We'll do what? Will input. So just remember that for every function and every class we need to define this if you are making program in this way, because scanner object is defined in this class and in this function it is local. So we'll have to define everything locally for if you are doing in such a way. We'll understand it, no problem. So this time what do we need for finding the simple interest? We need principal amount, rate of interest, and time. Let us make all of them as float variable so that we could provide a floating point number. What? Principal amount, rate, and year. Now how to input? P equals in dot next what? Float, because we are have to input in float variable. R equals also float because we have defined it float variable. And T also, no problem. Fine. Now we have data. Now we need the processing. Float interest equals P into R into T. P into R into T by 100. Okay, we could display the interest like interest equals value of n, and since this function is defined to return float, if there would be void, so we didn't need at that time to write return, but this time it is float. We want to make a function which must return something, so if this is non-void function we'll have to write this. Return what? Return the value of n. Okay, return n and then this. So this is how we can we have made another function. This time extra curly braces should be removed. This time what we have done, we have look from the beginning. We have made one function, one class arithmetic, where we have defined one simple function sum. Where we have made a class named fin for financial functions, and simple interest we have calculated. Okay. We could make some more functions as well. Hmm. Uh, like if you want to calculate tax. Hmm. Let us make a very simple program, tax. In this case, I will calculate 5% of, uh, look, now try to understand what I'm trying to do. Little complicated, not that complicated, but one criteria I'm presenting just before you, so that you could think and think about programs while it comes in your exam also. Suppose uh, we have to find the tax, how the tax is calculated. There's a lot of criteria, but to keep this simple, I'll do one thing, that enter the net income of a year, annual income, and then subtract 2,50,000 from it, and whatever remaining amount is there, find the 5% of that amount. This is what we have to do. We are not going to induce any if condition and other things. We have to make it simple. So what is the criteria? If suppose somebody is earning 3 lakhs rupees a year, simple, then reduce 2,50,000 from it. The remaining will be 50,000 only. And we have to find the 5% of 50,000. So now here we are going to make a function which will calculate the tax rate of 5% of exceeding amount than 2,50,000. So this function will make, because tax may come in point, but let us not keep the tax in point. Let us keep it in integer. So return type integer, tax calculation, or net income, okay, or gross income, or GI variable, okay. Now define it. How? So anti-taxable income equals what? Whatever the value of GI minus 2,50,000. Okay, quite easy. I have told you earlier what I have to do. Means gross income जो भी होगा उसमें 2,50,000 घटा देना है. जो remaining amount आएगा, जो कि अब taxable income वो नाम variable में आ गया, तो we have to find the 5%. And we want the result in integer. If हमारा tax बन रहा है 235 रुपया 36 पैसा, if it is something like this, then we don't want that 36 paisa to be paid. We want 230 only. Okay? No integers, no floating number. So nt equals what? 5% of so we can income tax equals, we have not written a variable, IT income tax. And since this function is designed to return something, so we'll have to write this return keyword. Return what? So what we have done so far, we have made two classes, one, two, and one more control, which will control everything. That's what three classes we have. This first class contain arithmetic functions. Although we have made only one function sum, we could make difference, product, division, modulus, other things are there. In financial class, we are making functions related to finance, like calculating the simple things like simple interest and calculating the tax. And there are other things also. We can make any number of function in a class. Okay. So what will be done in a class? So look, in this case, we have done all the formalities of inputting the data. But in this case, we have not input anything. Why? Because the data will be passed on from this argument. We have to make all the calculations over this, whatever data will come while it will be called. Okay, this is called the formal parameter. So this is how we are made. Now it's time to call the functions. So these two functions are these two functions belong to fin functions. So the same way we'll have to call it this way. Fin dot what? But this function is not a void function. As in this case, some function is void function. So we have simply called it like this. But in this case, this function is going to return this data, float type data. So we'll have to call in a different way. Float R1 equals fin.semantic. The same way we have tax, which will return integer. So we have to be here R2 result 2 equals, this also belong to fin. So fin dot what? Tax function. That's how this function is designed. It has to be passed one integer data. So let us provide 3,50,000 as the annual income. Now you might be wondering, what if we'll enter number less than 2,50,000? Then the result will be negative and rest of the things will come in negative. But this is not negative. Text may not be a negative number. But to make the program simple, we have taken this example. In order to make it a very robust and proper, we need to use several if conditions and other things. So let's keep the thing simple and try to input number greater than 2,50,000 to get a proper result. So, okay. Now in this case, so do both cases, if we are outputting the values, although we are returning also. So what to be done? So here we could do the one thing, system dot out dot the sum of interest and tax in. And here we'll do what? We'll print the sum of tax. The value of interest is going in R1 plus the value of tax is going in R2. You can give any variable name. And now let us save it. So dear students, for a few of you this might get complicated, but it's not complicated. Look at this program as a whole. Although the fonts are reduced, you have to you can forward or rewind the video and you can see what codes are written. You need to practice it. Save it here and Java C control.java. Good, very good. Error, I was expecting some error. Variable is in already defined in method cement. Okay. Float in. देखो बहुत अच्छा हो, बहुत ही अच्छा। यहाँ आपको जानने का मौका मिला, एक वेरिएबल इन ऑलरेडी डिफाइंड है, ये कह रहा है तो ठीक है ना भाई। int is a keyword, int also we cannot give, तो in one दे देते हैं ना, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। int why we cannot give, because int is a keyword, so in one दे देते हैं, ये इंटरेस्ट कैलकुलेट कर रहा है। Another two errors were there. Non-static method can be referenced from static context window tags. Yes, चलो ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा, गलती होना अच्छा है भाई। देखो यहाँ कह रहा है कि नॉन स्टैटिक मेथड, tax is non-static because we left I forgot to put the static keyword here, that's why. So cannot be referred from static because main function in this case is static, and we must the detail about a static will be clear after a few classes, not now. So right now, just keep in your mind, you have to make all the functions static functions. As soon as we'll start the object-oriented programming, we'll learn more about it. So we have removed two errors. Let us once again try to compile it. This time no error came. That's right. Now let us run this. So as I have told you, and yes, one more thing I would like to show you, dir, I told you in the last class, what I have told you. Yeah. To use the various options of dir slash o dash t slash p. it will display everything in sorted order, which will be generated in the last will be shown in the first. Control dot class is created, fin dot class is created, arithmetic dot class is created, and all of them are created at the same time. Okay. So press any key to continue. Why? Because of slash p. It is displaying the first page, and when you will press another key, it will display the rest of the two list results. So let us now run this. And before executing, what you need to do, clear the screen list. Java, and then so look how it is working. Control means yeah, this main function. From this main function, the execution will begin. Arithmetic.sum is called first. So the sum function is being called, a subject created, then two variables created and asking two numbers. This is what now enter two numbers 8 and 5. Sum is 30. Now what? It look at the students. You have to be very clear. After this curly brace, what will happen? The return will go back to this. यहीं से कॉल हुआ था ना, इसलिए वापस यहाँ आ गया और उसके बाद जो है वो रन करा रहा. अब ये फंक्शन रन कर रहा है. So what will happen? What is happening when this is executed? This is called or this is invoked. CMINT. Go to CMINT. Here it went. Now what is inputting task, enter principal amount and all. So enter amount like 5600 at the rate of 9.33% for 2 years or 2.5 years, whatever you can give. So interest is this. Okay, interest is this. Now we'll see why income tax is 0. We'll see everything. But first you see that इंटरेस्ट इतना दिखलाया. इंटरेस्ट दिखलाने के बाद क्या हुआ कि ये फंक्शन के बाद ये फंक्शन कॉल हुआ, फिर हमारा टैक्स कॉल हुआ. टैक्स जीआई का वैल्यू हो गया 3,50,000. ठीक है, तो टैक्सेबल इनकम क्या कर रहे हैं हम? 3,50,000 माइनस 250, 2,50,000. सो आफ्टर दिस व्हाट इज हैपनिंग? आई एम कैलकुलेटिंग 5% of taxable income. Okay, so let us try to see why it is showing a 0. So this kind of thing may happen with you also. So now we have an opportunity to learn few more things. This can happen with you also. Let us find it out. This happened. This is very good. Why it is very good? Let us try to learn how, if this kind of thing happens, then how we can resolve our problem. So think like this. We are calculating 5% of this and the result is coming 0. Okay, so let us first be sure that what is the value of tax bin. So for this, let us do one thing. System dot out dot println value of taxable income. TXT spelling is okay. Now, for the sake of just resolving this particular issue, let us do one thing. Let us comment all these things. We don't want this thing to be executed. Save it, compile it, and then see. Value of taxable income 1 lakh. Okay. So income tax is still 0. Why so? Let us do something. Let us use BODMAS rule properly, because we are now sure that the value of taxable income is okay. We must be sure. We should not doubt over the computer's operation, but for our mentality, just be sure that first level is clear. The taxable income has the value 1 lakh, and we have to find the 5. This situation, you remember, if you remember, then this situation has also occurred while we were learning input and other operations. We'll find. So let us see whether this particular thing is going to resolve the issue or not. But according to me, this is not going to resolve it. I'll tell you the reason. This is very good thing that has happened. That is, you have encountered error accidentally, but you have encountered. So now, dear student, try to understand the case. Okay. This 5% means what? This 5% means 5%. Look, I'm doing the rough work here. 5 into 100 is also equal to 0.05, isn't it? 5% or 5 by 100 is also equal to 0.05. Yes, okay. You agree with this? If you don't, then you should agree. Huh? This is the case. Now what? Which type of data it is? It is float. But what kind of data we are using? We are using all integers. Okay. So there are various ways. So let us try few ways. Let us first, of course, if we'll convert everything in float, अगर हम सारा चीज float में convert कर दे तो भी हमारा काम हो जाएगा. Okay. Let us refine this. Float, making float all the things. Float is there, float is there. Remove everything. Make it float. Fine, float. Now no need of writing these all kind of typecasting and okay, okay, okay. Now we'll get our result. What happened? Expected terminator. Why so? Not terminator. Removing this will resolve it. Incompatible type. Fine. No problem. Okay, dear students, see here also it's telling you that incompatible types, possibly lossy conversion from float to int. It simply means that, of course, this is now going to return the data in float. But what we are doing, why it is going to return in float? Because now we have changed it to return as float because the problem we are coming. Now here we have int. I mean, this receiver is int, so we need to change it also to float. Okay. Now it seems that the problem is solved, but yet still there is a problem. Okay, what is the problem? I'll tell you. But before knowing that problem, just see what happens. Step by step. Let us run it and see. Okay, it was expected that the result will come, but now the result again it is 0. So one thing can resolve this problem, or earlier also this problem was coming, no? That could be also resolved by just doing one simple modification. We'll see everything. Why I'm doing so? Why I'm not displaying this complete program in a fresh way? I want you to see these things, and I want you to see these things and want you to check what kind of errors comes every time we are doing this. Okay, so now what can solve this issue? Let us try it. Look, dear student, what is happening here? This very minor thing. What is happening here? We have written 5 by 100, but here this 5 is treated as an integer. Okay, this whole thing is an integer, but after division the result will come what? 0.05. The result will come this. When we divide 5 by 100, of course this result will come, but since this both are integers, so it will show only the integer part. Even after everything is fine, we did everything fine. Now this is a logical error. Everything is fine, but despite of this, these two things are in integer. So even though the result is this, but only integer part, that is 0, will be returned, and overall return of this expression will be 0, and 0 into anything becomes 0, and that's why it's displaying 0. So let us do one thing. Let us convert it to f. F means float. Simply write f after this, and then let us see what happens. Now we have resolved the issue. So putting f here could also resolve it. So the idea, the knowledge of how the things works will let you resolve this problem. And now think that if somebody has no idea about this, how the float and integers works and what are the differences between them, they will be just revolving around and they will never find the solution. It will be very hard for them to find the solution. Now let us do one thing. Let us reset in earlier mode. Let us do everything in a float way. Here also let us do it float. I just want to show you that whether writing F here is resolving all the issues or not. Here we had this case, no, only 90 everywhere. 90 here also and 90 here. Okay. Now let us see what errors now it is displaying. Yes. See this. Incompatible types, possibly lossy conversion from float to bin. Now what has happened here? See. This whole thing got converted to float. It is now this time, since this is float, so everything in the expression get converted to float. This is called implicit typecasting. Automatically, the result of the calculation got converted to the largest data type available. So here in this case, integer and floats are there, but out of integer and float is considered as larger because it has larger range. That's why, not because it is taking number of bytes more, because float and int takes same number of bytes, but the range of float is larger than integer. So overall, everything got converted to float. And since we are acquiring or trying to assign the float data type to integer, so that's where the same error is coming. So let us try to resolve it by converting this whole thing to integer. This whole thing is this. After calculation, let us convert it to integer, and then let us see whether it works or not. Now it is working. Let us see the result of it. Fine. Now this is what we wanted. So we have gone long way around and seen all the possible ways and all the things, and finally we found what only this f could have resolved our problem. Yes. Why? This f converts things in float, and the thing get converted to float, and we wanted the result in int, and then we explicitly converted over the whatever it is coming in float. So dear students, here we saw how we can make multiple classes, and in every class we can have multiple functions and how we call them. We'll see more about these things in our next class. So thank you for today. See you.